Hello, hello. Let's do a quick mic check. Alrighty, it's going to be a Christmas themed painting session today. So it's going to be fun. And no, for the record, I am not painting the Grinch. I couldn't find good reference for the Grinch. So not doing the Grinch. All right, 1 second. Just getting things in the right place. Um, okay, that was weird. Alrighty. Let's see. All right. Oh, my face cam's on. Hey, French fries, how's it going? Uh, French fries asks how I'm doing. I'm doing well. How about yourself? 1 second, my face cam is messed up. There we go. Okay. I'm actually not going to be working on this painting. So this is going to go back here to finish drying right now. Um, all right. Slightly messed up on this, I realize now. Um, Shoot. All right, let me re-stick this one. You're watching a football game, going to order pizza and watch stream. That sounds like a fantastic night. Sounds like a very fun night. Especially the stream. The football thing, not so much. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am kidding. I know people absolutely love football and sports. I've never been a big sports fan, but I get it. I do get it. I actually got into sports a bit, like watching sports a bit when, because my mom was into it, so I'd watch stuff with her, and having people to like watch it with and participate with made it a lot more enjoyable. All right, there we go. I'm really bummed out. We had a what's it called? We had a special pizza place that I used to like to order from around here, and they shut down, unfortunately. I think they went out of business. Uh, and yeah, that sucks. Ah, well, that's very distorted. Hold on a second, I'll and fix it. Yeah, it literally is a social event. Watching with my dad, and then we can talk to the grandma and uncle about it tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. Like I totally understand the social aspect of it. I think that's actually something that unfortunately is missing a bit with the way that the way that we consume media now, because there's far less like events or things that like everybody has seen or everybody watches, and people like to talk about that stuff. Um, so yeah, I think that's an unfortunate, you know, I think that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm glad that we have all the different options and stuff, but that is a negative, one of the like negatives to the all the positives. All right, I'm gonna have to actually use my guidelines here because I cannot, what's it called? Do this by eye. It's a little too much. All right. I was I wanted to do this before I started stream, but so many things I was trying to do right before I started stream that I just could not manage it. No, that's too close. Further away. There we go. This is such a weird thing because like as I move the image around, it distorts based off of like where it is, like where the what's it called? Like where it is in in the field of view of the camera. Such a weird, I don't know how they calculate but whatever calculation they do, it does not feel natural. Like it always feels like they're doing something wrong with this. I don't know why, but it does. Also, these sliders are way too sensitive. Like I really, oh, if I would change the sliders here. Anyway, sorry I'm doing this on stream. I try to do everything in preparation before stream, but sometimes I just who am I kidding? Most of the times I just don't have the time for it. if I'm being honest. All right, I'm gonna say that is good enough. Not perfect, but it's close. All right. I think this is the first Christmas themed um painting I've ever done. Trying to think if I've ever done a Christmas themed painting prior to this. I don't think I have. So this should be fun. What are we planning for the Christmas stream this year? So I don't know that I'm going to do a stream on Christmas itself, I'll be honest. And I'm not entirely sure how Christmas week is going to go. Um, but that's why I'm starting, the like I'm starting it now kind of thing. And also I feel like Christmas, the Christmas season has already started, right? Like I don't feel like I'm out of place and doing something Christmas themed today. At least hopefully. If I am, sorry. But yeah, I think it's kind of within the time frame. But yeah, you'll see what it is in a little bit. I will say next week, I'll be honest, we'll see how it goes next week. I know I've been talking about this, but I have 3 videos done, and the goal is to have a video every day next week come out on YouTube. Now, are these going to be like amazing long no videos? No, they're going to be time-lapse videos where I just talk a bit over the time lapse, and that's about it. But still, it's been a lot of work to get all of this prepared. And so yeah, that's next week, the big thing. I still want to keep streaming. Um, we'll see how it all goes. Like I said, I do want to keep streaming. So the goal is to not stop with the streams. But for Christmas itself, I don't know that I have any plans. I feel like not a lot of people really care or want to watch streams during Christmas, so it's kind of slow. I could be wrong, but that's my impression. So we're getting Christmas present every day next week? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The goal is to have uh this is an ambitious goal, so we'll see how well I can keep up with it, but a st- um the goal is to have a video out every day next week, weekday. And also, um, the following week, minus Christmas itself, minus the holiday, and minus New Year's, of course. But yeah, but the goal is to have one out every weekday. So we'll see how that goes. I can tell you it's a lot of work. and I am luckily like a lot of the work, I don't want to say um once it's done because there's always new stuff, but I'm starting to get into the rhythm of it and understand how to do it, and things are getting easier and so on. But yeah, it's so much work. But yeah, I'm basically, if you're familiar with Nicholas Uribe, I'm basically ripping him off, you know, ripping him off on the Our Painted Lives, what they did, and trying to do something similar. So yeah, that's the goal. We'll see how how everything pans out. All right, some of this paint is a little dry, so I'm gonna have to use a little bit of solvent, even though I try not to. I try not to talk too much about plans as far as like what I'm going to do, and I like to focus more on like what I'm actually doing, because I feel like I exhaust my energy talking and then I don't do things. But in this case, I have been working very hard to like get things going. So I do believe at least next week, the 5 videos next week definitely coming out. That is definitely happening. Like I would need, something out of the ordinary would have to happen for that to not end up being the case. Now, as for today, for the um, Christmas themed painting, I decided to paint one of the most iconic uh, images from one of the most iconic Christmas movies. And for now, that's all I'm going to say uh, at the moment. But yes, this is literally one of the most iconic shots from one of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time. And I'm going to start by like putting in the more, the darker colors before I start getting into the lighter colors. I'm sure everyone will be able to guess what it is in just a few minutes if they haven't already. Yeah, other than that, for Christmas itself, I'm not doing too much. I don't know about you. We keep it very low key. We usually go out for a movie on Christmas Day, but there doesn't seem to be anything in theaters right now, or not right now, but like on Christmas, there doesn't seem like there's going to be almost anything worth watching. So, I think we're just gonna do it at home. We'll probably do at some point, we'll do like drive around and go look at all the lights and stuff. You know, planning on doing that at some point. Yeah, I've never been much of a Christmas person in general, to the absolute annoyance of Michelle. She does like the holiday, and I don't. I'm not really a holiday person, so but this is one of my favorite Christmas movies. There's not a lot of Christmas movies I like, but this is one of my favorites. Um, there's that movie I think it was like 2 years ago. I think it was Silent Night or something, like the action movie with um with Santa Claus. Where that was a fun one too. That was a fun movie. And then what was it? Bad Santa. Uh, you know, I don't know if there was a second one or they were rumored to have a second one, but I only saw the first one. It was funny. It wasn't like, amazing, but it was funny. I liked it. But none of them hold a lighter to this movie, in my opinion. Gonna have to put out more yellow. Let's put out some more yellow real quick. Oof. I ordered more yellow, but they sent me the wrong color, and now I'm starting to get a little concerned about whether or not I'm going to get it in time because of Christmas. Uh, oof. I thought I had more than this. This tube's looking way emptier than I want it to. Okay then. I better get back to a customer service person ASAP. So yeah, in case, well, actually, I think it's quite obvious, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to keep waiting and let people can decide when, can guess to what movie I am painting. I think most people will have guessed it already, but some people watching later or something might look at this and be like, I have no idea I don't see Santa anywhere. So, you know, figure I'll leave it open for a little bit longer until it's really unavoidable. Steve, Steve, I'm trying to remember how you pronounce your last name. Is it Wallet? Like a W? And yes, you are correct. I thought it was very obvious, but I'm also staring at the reference, which makes it a lot easier to be very obvious. But yes, it's, in my opinion, one of the most iconic, uh, you know, screenshots from a Christmas movie. Wool, Woolette, Woolette. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that one's gonna be hard to remember for me. How are you doing today? What are you up to? But yeah, like I said earlier, I've never been much for the like holiday season. I'm not like, some people like really get into it and love it, and yeah, I've never been that person. So for me, this is exactly the type of holiday movie I could, really get into. Well, thanks. It's relaxing watching you paint. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. Um, yeah, I know what it's like. When I watch other artists painting live, a lot of times I'm not like super, well, how can I put this? I'm not like dedicated watching the whole time, but I also tend to watch things while doing other things in general. So I know a lot of times people don't. So they like, look away and look back and look away and so on, which is, understandable. I think it would be uh a little much to just sit and watch paint, at least in a live setting. The time lapse stuff is a little easier because it's, obviously it's so much faster. It's manageable, at least for me. The thing I always found the most annoying about watching other artists, um, there are two things. One is when I would often be busy either working or I would be painting myself. And then I always found it really hard to stop what I was doing to like comment and interact. And there inevitably would be something that I wanted to like, touch on or interject or whatever. Um, that was always, or if I was doing something like, if I was at work, and you know, it was like something I didn't want to be doing. I then was like sitting there going, oh, I just want to be painting right now. I don't want to be drawing storyboards. I want to be painting, or whatever it would be, or I'm retouching and I don't want to be photo retouching. I want to be painting right now, stuff like that. Those were always my two biggest gripes about watching other people. That is definitely not accurate. I'm gonna have to revise that for sure. At one point, I was thinking of setting up my what's it called? of setting up my stream so that my Discord would be open and people could jump into my Discord into a voice chat and talk with me while I'm on stream. Um, but um, I ultimately decided against doing that because I was too concerned that like I don't know the people who are going to jump in. Like, there's certain people I trust, obviously, but then there's random people. And you know, I just I was a little concerned that someone who doesn't like me, and not that I really have like enemies or anything, but there's enough people out there. I've talked enough I've talked enough shit on Twitter against the AI stuff that I know there's some people out there. They probably don't like I don't think anyone holds a grudge against me specifically, but I've definitely talked enough shit that I think someone might decide to come in and try and get me banned. I wouldn't put it against I wouldn't put past them. Um, they're uh, yeah, quite petty and you know some of them are quite petty and uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Vindictive? Yeah. I was part of I participated in a like a support group type of thing where like it was just supposed to be a meeting for artists who are feeling really depressed about all the AI stuff and they wanted like a space to just talk about it and deal with it. And at the time I was working full time and everything, but I joined in because I wanted to help support other artists and, you know, be encouraging because I think it's worth continuing. It was mostly for like much younger artists. Well, like, people in school basically, in college or whatever. But like I said, I wanted to be there and be supportive. I wasn't organizing it, but I wanted to participate. And the link was uh, the person who organized it, I guess, did an open link. And people who are like supporters came in and just started, playing like very disturbing videos and stuff like that to, you know, just to cause problems. And I was just like, so that made me second guess the idea of having an open Discord call where anyone from my community could just pop in and it would be streamed live on my channel. Made me nervous. But I do really like the idea of having more like interaction with people. Um, if people are interested in that. Um, so I don't know exactly how to pull that off, except for maybe having like, uh, you know, Discord days or Discord, specific like calls or something like that. I don't know. What's his name? Dylan Sarah, I know does like a drawing session I think it's every Tuesday. Um, and that's like open to anyone who wants to join. I think that's really cool. All right, let's indicate the face a little bit more here. That is, I think, wrong. I have to go broader and then, yeah, all right. I'll have to go more vague and then clean it up because I was not getting it right to begin with. A lot easier to find like the general kind of position of everything and then whittle it down, into the right place than it is to try and get everything in the right place right away. Only unfortunate thing is I feel like this definitely contributes to the painting going through the ugly stage. But, oh well. I'll sacrifice. I'll make the sacrifice. It's going to go through an ugly stage almost for sure anyway, so oh well. And let me grab another brush. Needs to be slightly smaller, or if not smaller, tighter bristles. One thing that I really do like about wearing gloves when I paint is that obviously keeps my hands clean, which is the idea. But the place where my hands get dirty the most is not like random paint on it. Sometimes that is. But the two things is one, when I'm using a paper towel and whatever, if I'm using solvent or oil or whatever, and it gets through the paper towel to the other side, that gets on my hands. Um, or the other thing is when I paint, I do put down my pinky sometimes for support instead of grabbing a maul stick. And the what's it called, the gloves help a lot with that too. But otherwise, I generally don't get paint. I'm not one of those artists that get paint all over themselves most of the time. It happens. It does happen, but most of the time. All right. Here. Oh, hey. One of my friends, Heather, is watching me. She just sent me. She just sent me a screenshot that she's watching me. Hey, Heather. One of my best friends. So shout out to Heather. All right, let's something here. I need to fix. I think it's the angle. Let's make the angle a little stronger. I was looking for screenshots last night from the movie. So I've at first I just scrolled through the movie to find the screenshots, and then I just let it play and watched the movie last night while I was doing other things. It's a good movie, but it is funny. Some things you know you can see how like things have changed, not just culturally, but even just like movie making, like how they made movies. Um, and obviously, things are going to change digitally, and there's pacing, but even like there's even like some of the fight scenes, the some of the sound effects that they used. It's just like they were very subdued in comparison to like today, how they how they do things. It was funny to watch. Like there wasn't such a focus on like his fighting skills necessarily, stuff like that. That like today a lot of action movies, like that's a big thing, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. It was interesting to watch. And it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. don't want to get too much into the details here because I know I'm gonna use the brayer to mess it up because I know some of them aren't accurate. And so just gonna mess them up and then redo some of them. All right, before I do the brayer, I'm actually going to put in some more color variations so that the brayer has like more to work with. So there's more variety because right now I feel like it might be just a little too uniform. So get some color variation in here and some thicker paint. So the brayer has more to push around. Like I don't think that this is an accurate color in here necessarily, but it it'll give the brayer something to play with. Also, there's almost no way for me to get the color like really accurate because of how um, you know, like how much they mess with colors, from not just in the movie, but in the delivery system. So, and different computers and just like I'll never really know what you know, I'll have an idea, but unless I watch it on film or like a color calibrated thing, I'll never really know. So we're gonna get, an approximation. All right, I think that's pretty good. Now it's time to grab the brayer and mess it all up. Cool. There weren't any particular surprises today with the brayer, which, is a good thing, I think. Although sometimes surprises are fun, but yeah, alrighty. Um, all right, so I'm just gonna take a photo of this and drop it onto my computer real quick. Um, so I can, what's it called? So I can compare it to my reference, get the placement of everything right. I have to say, so far it's looking fairly close. Like I know it's never 100%, but fairly close. I love the way the Braille introduces randomness and chaos to make the painting so much more interesting. I'd be so nervous doing that. Yeah, I love that too. That is what I love about it. But I do understand being nervous about it. It's just, once you do it enough times, it's not as nerve-wracking. But also just I know this one's tough, but just having the confidence that if you painted it once, you can paint it again. And like having the confidence that as you go, you'll fix and correct and, improve uh is very important. I do think it's one of those things that you definitely develop over time. Like I don't think that it's like I know I didn't have it like immediately. I'm not going to stand here and be like, oh yeah, I instantly was like, yeah, no worries at all. No, not in the slightest. But, over time, you you do it a couple times, and that's really all it takes to feel more confident about it. Of course, with other mediums, I'm sure it'd be a lot more nerve-wracking, depending on what you're working with. Or it'd be useless, right? Like if you didn't do it quick enough, there would be no point in doing this on acrylics or on watercolor, But assuming you did it in time, I feel like it would, in some ways, it would be more nerve-wracking for sure. Um, because of the inherent properties of those paints. I know some people have pushed back on this, but I really do feel like oil paint is just aside from digital. But when it comes to traditional mediums, I do feel like oil paint is just the um, most forgiving uh, of all the of all the mediums. So it's very much like, whatever. You make a mistake, you make a mistake. It's not a big deal. Just go in and redo it. It's just more, effort and time. At, at least that's the mentality I try and foster and that I try to convey to other people too, because I know that once I was less afraid of messing up, um, my paintings got better, you know. that and I definitely was able to get looser. Not that looseness necessarily comes from like this feeling of freedom and like being like messy with things, not really, but still there that lack of like not tightening up on everything really helped uh, long term, I think. But it took me a long time to get to that place. It was not something that like came naturally to me necessarily. So So I do understand people who like don't feel that way. I get it. The painting, the painting and the reference are so busy. I'm actually gonna dip into my quinacridone rose here so that I can draw like I like I haven't done in a while because I'm having such a hard time seeing everything. And this will make it easier for me. All right, there we go. Now he has a bit of a face. Still messed up face, but getting there. I mean, it was pretty close to being in place. Just little things here and there that were slightly off. Unfortunately, this image is just a screen grab. It's not the highest quality, but some things are a little hard to see. Uh, no, that's not right. Let's see. Okay. I knew the mouth was looking wrong. It's still not right, but at least it's closer. Yeah, that's better. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm just using my quinacridone rose just to help draw in the placement of things. It's a color I like to use for this because um, it usually blends in well with a lot of things. It can lean cool or warm, and a lot of things have red in them. Not everything, obviously, but a lot of things have red in them. Um, it's a strong color that's easy to see, but also it blends pretty well. Uh, I have run into some issues occasionally when I was painting something that was like extremely white or extremely desaturated or light and desaturated. And I had this thing, these lines that were very, very strong. I have run into that in the past, but most of the time it's a good color for that. So you do have to pay attention and not do what I did, which was clearly not pay attention sometimes. But um, you know, uh, it's still a manageable color. Um, and the other colors on my palette are not as manageable. Um, or they're harder to see. Like the yellow would probably be an easier color to use because it'd be a lot easier to like, you know, paint it out of, you know, but like if I needed to get rid of a line, it'd be easier to get rid of it. But the the yellow would be much, much harder to see. So, it's not, it doesn't really work. And then the blue would be an absolute nightmare because it's phthalo blue and it would infect the entire painting. Because as much as I love phthalo blue, you do need to treat it like it is a, um, I don't know, dangerous corrosive substance that will ruin your painting. Because if you're not careful with it, it will absolutely do that. It won't like ruin the structure of your painting, of course, like, but it will just, it is such a strong color that it will turn the entire painting blue. And you will have to wait for it to dry before you can recover, uh, you know, any of the colors. And it will probably take longer to dry. So yeah, so it would not be a good color for that purpose. White is also not a good color because if you get it into the dark colors, it can ruin them. And then the black, kind of the same thing. You can just dirty up your colors and get rid of any saturation that you might want. So yeah, so that leaves the quinacridone rose from the colors on my palette, at least. All righty. Well, one thing is very clear. I need to bring in a lot of much lighter colors because this whole thing is very, very dark. Which is actually a good thing because I was a little worried about going too light because this isn't it's kind of a dark moment in the movie. Optically, I don't mean like he's in a dark place. I just mean like, he's in a air shaft. It's dark, So I do want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be too dark. So, but I was afraid I'd go too light with it in the beginning. So I'm glad I didn't. Gives me a ton of room to go lighter. And in oil paint, generally speaking, uh, a lot easier to go lighter than it is to go darker. The reason for that is that titanium white, which is generally the white that almost everybody uses all the time, um, I'm not even going to worry about the wrinkles on his forehead. He's got way too many of them for me to even try right now. Um, but yeah, titanium white is very opaque. Um, so it is a lot easier to go lighter than it is to go darker. And in general, most of the lighter colors are more opaque and the darker colors are more transparent. Not a hard rule, just a generalization. There are always exceptions, but generally, yeah, most of the lighter colors are tend to be more opaque, so it's a lot easier to go lighter. Also, it works really well because the paint, you know, in theory. Oh, hold on a second. Let's see. Uh, Steve asks, do you sometimes work without a reference? And if so, does the subject matter differ from what you typically do? Um, so I don't normally paint without a reference. Like, yeah, I don't really do that. I do, when I do storyboards or illustrations and stuff like that, I tend to work without reference or without direct reference, I would say. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to pick up, I pick up some images that are like inspirational or like there'll be like individual aspects of it that I'm using, but I don't, it's much more from imagination, so to speak. Um, but when it comes to my oil painting, I almost never work without reference. Um, Yeah, I find it. I've tried it. I've done it a few times. It ends up feeling much more like my illustrations than my paintings, is the way I would phrase it. Um, it's not, I don't know. I rather work from reference if I can. And sometimes I'm working from life, but I still consider that reference, right? Like if there's a model in front of me, that's still from something. Um, so I've done drawing classes and I've done drawing workshops or painting workshops. I've painted from live models before, which is fantastic, by the way, and frustrating at the same time. Um, but yeah, as far as like painting from imagination, I don't do it much with oil paints. I will do it just to draw or sketch and to digital painting and stuff like that. What ends up happening between like the difference between the two, um, I mean, yeah, the subjects often change quite a bit because they'll do things that are more like comic book inspired or more fantasy or, whatever it might be, or cartoony or whatever. Um, when I'm drawing from imagination, um, I I don't with oil when it comes to my oil paintings, there's I don't know how to describe it exactly, but when I'm working from imagination, it's never going to look like or maybe not never, but when I do it, it doesn't look like I was looking at reference when I drew it, right? Like when I draw or paint something from imagination, I don't think anyone questions whether or not no one thinks, wait, were you looking at an image for this? Like, were you looking at reference? Is this a real person? Like, there's a degree of like, just um, I don't know how to describe it, just inaccuracy or not inaccuracy even. It's like a lack of reality to it. So, um, to me, I associate that more with like illustration or comic book work, stuff like that. So it just doesn't have the same feel that the oil paintings do. I could see working from, and I've done some degree of this already, like a composite image where I take, multiple images and I combine them together, um, for an oil painting reference. I can see that. I could do that. Um, but I don't know. I kind of, um, I generally would prefer to have reference for my oil painting because it gives it just helps me produce an image that has a certain look that I just won't get without it. At least I don't think I will. I suppose I could do some experiments one day to try it out. That might be something doing. Um, but I have drawn from imagination many times. So I kind of know what to expect. Steve says, thanks. I didn't necessarily mean in oils. Interesting to hear about the storyboarding, comics, etc. Yeah, well, I mean, that's my background. I originally was my originally my goal was to be a comic book artist, um and then after comic books, I got into storyboarding for TV animation. Um, and I've done freelance illustration work and stuff like that. So it's just kind of I don't know, just it's a different thing. Those types of that type of work, I definitely wouldn't work from reference all the time. There's just no way to do that in a reasonable, time-wise. Like it's not really feasible. So um, they end up working and doing a lot from imagination, a lot of sketching, a lot of, construction and so on. But yeah, it ends up having a very different feel to it. Let's see. First time chatter over on Twitch, the amusing moose. Put white paint on your hand, put it over your face, and then you have a servant of Saruman. Ah, got it. Yes. I won't, but true. Welcome. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good day. Um, yeah, I kind of don't want to have paint all over my face, but I get what you're saying. That's true. Although it wouldn't dry. That's the problem with oil paint. It'd stay wet, so it'd just end up getting all messed up and on everything. Sorry, I'm a super Lord of the Rings nerd. No worries. I like Lord of the Rings. I don't know that I'd qualify as a super nerd about it. I have a friend that would for sure. Unfortunately, he's not here, but he read all the books and the expansion books and everything. The Silmarillion or whatever. I can't pronounce that. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, but yeah. So I've heard all. Even that was before the movies even came out, so he was like a super fan. Silmarillion. That's it. Silmarillion. Yes. Thank you. Probably still messed up the pronunciation, but yeah, that's what it is. There's a guy on I think he's on Instagram. He's probably on what's he called? He's probably on TikTok too, but I come across his stuff occasionally where he talks about something modern, something that's going on in the news, and then immediately like equates it to Lord of the Rings. It's pretty funny. But he doesn't say it's just like in Lord of the Rings. He just starts equating it and just starts talking about it. It's like and he just mentions it. It's like the battle and this where this and like and within within like a sentence you realize, oh wait a second, this is Lord of the Rings. Yeah. The museum says, I don't know if you know this, but the stream skips back and soon sometimes repeat what you are saying. I didn't know that. Um, stream health looks fine on my end. I'm dual streaming to Twitch and YouTube, and no one has mentioned anything on YouTube's side, which makes me think it might be a Twitch issue. Might be my problem. Like it might be my fault. I don't know. But thank you for letting me know. I'll look into it. I unfortunately a lot of times I can't look into these things while I'm streaming because a lot of times in order to fix things, I don't know if you stream or not, but a lot of times you have to like disconnect to make some change if you need to make certain changes in OBS. It's really frustrating. But I do appreciate it. I'll look into it. Okay, it's really funny because it repeated when you said uh repeat what you were saying. Perfect timing. It was on purpose. Sorry, I'm just joking around. It was all on. No, it wasn't, but you know, that's funny. I was trying to think. I don't normally do a ton of like fan art related stuff. Occasionally I do, but I don't do a ton of it. But I was thinking like I would totally do a Lord of the Rings fan art at some point. And then I was trying to think like, okay, if I do a Lord of the Rings fan art, when would be the right time for that? Like if I wanted to theme it to something, when would that be? I don't know, I have to think about it. Hey, a recluse moose, welcome. Uh, I don't think it's repeating here. Same guy by the. Oh, okay, got it. Recluse moose. Okay, awesome. So yeah, it's not repeating on YouTube. All right. It might be Twitch having some issues. You know, sometimes their servers are having issues or something. Who knows? Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like, when would be a good time to do, if I were to do a Lord of the Rings fan art, like, when would be a good time? Because I'm thinking next year, like, I thought about it too late this year, so it'll be for next year. I'm thinking maybe of doing like for Halloween, like, I don't know, what is it called? Labyrinth, like a painting of something out of La from Labyrinth or something like that. Um, Generally, I'm probably not going to do too much horror even for Halloween. Just not really all that interested in painting that, if I'm being honest. But fantasy uh or something like that, I'm down for. So yeah, I don't know. A recluse moose. Are you an artist, by the way? But and do not feel obligated to respond to anything if you don't feel comfortable sharing. I just ask because a lot of the people that come into stream are artists. Tends to be, you know, str a painting stream tends to attract other artists, so I always ask. And not everyone is, but uh, good amount of people are. Let's see. Reckless Moose says, so how do you pick who you make a painting of? Generally, I am, I generally do, so it just depends. Generally, I find images online that I use, or I do photo shoots with, you know, friends, or if I can with models, and then you know, that's how I do my paintings. Um, I don't do it, like I said, I don't do a ton of fan art and stuff like that. Um, this is because it's a Christmas movie. French Fry says best Christmas movie ever. Yes, exactly. Best Christmas movie ever. I'm not much of a like holiday person, but this is the type of Christmas movie I can get behind. So, um, it's a it's in the holiday spirits that this one. But generally, it's an issue of what what am I like? What type of painting do I want to do? What type of feeling do I want to convey? And it's not a very well-defined thing on purpose because a lot of times I'm trying to give very much of a like a indication of something and like but it's not solid enough to be um how can I put this? I want enough room for interpretation in it too. So like a lot of the paintings will have that aspect to them. Or it'll be a painting of a cat because I've done some cat paintings recently and that's basically just like I painted my cats and I painted a friend's cat. So, commit there's that. I haven't done a ton of cats, but uh so far it's been my cats and a friend's cat. French fries says, if you had to pick a favorite Christmas movie, what would it be? Oh, it'd definitely be this one. Absolutely, without a doubt. Not even close. Anyone ever say you look like an actor? Hagrid, if I take the hair down, I've gotten Hagrid before, with the there. I can cosplay as Hagrid. I've gotten that before. Okay, fair. I see it now. Yeah, yeah. I'd say as far as Christmas movies, other than this one, I do like Bad Santa. That one was funny. And The Silent Night. Um, I like that one too. That was a good one. I think it's called The Silent Night. It's where it's with like an action movie with Santa Claus. Yeah. To me, you looked like a much better version of David Cross. David Cross. Ooh, I don't know who David Cross is off the top of my head. I'm notoriously bad with names. Um, it's ridiculous how bad my memory is for names. Trying to think who that is. I'll have to look him up when I take a break. But thank you. I'm assuming he's not a, horrible uh monster looking person, so I'm going to say thank you. And if he ends up being the guy who played the, Hunchback from Notre Dame or something like that, I'll ban you in retrospect. Um, the one with David Harbour, isn't that Violent Night? It might be Violent Night. Maybe it's Violent Night? French fries? Yeah, I don't know. Did I ever watch Arrested Development? The development. Yes. Yes, I have. Been a while, but yeah. Don't tell me it's the guy who paints himself blue. That that would not be nice. Tobias Funky, Lindsay's husband. All right, now I have to look it up. Just gonna have to take a oh, it's okay. I need to take a break anyways. All right. All right. All right, let me see 1 second. David Cross. Him? I don't. Okay. I don't see it, but his character is a failed actor. It's the blue guy? Ah. I like him. I actually like him as an actor. I don't see it though. But okay. Yeah, I don't see it. His nose is too round. I mean like a much better looking version. Well, thank you. All right. Let's see. Let me make sure if it's Violent Night or Silent Night, whichever what is that movie? It is Violent Night. You're right. Violent Night. That's the one. Violent Night. Yeah. So that's my trio of movies. Um, Violent Night, Bad Santa, and Die Hard. I think that's my trio of Christmas movies. Uh, but yeah. Well, at least it's the better version looking of him. And usually what I get is you look like this other actor, but worse than that actor, whoever it might be. So, I'll take it. At least we're going in the right direction. You know what I mean? French fry says Polar Express. Um, which one? Polar Express. Uh, oh, I never watched it. I never watched the whole thing. I've seen clips from Polar Express, but I've never seen the whole thing. Uh, a Recluse Moose says I mean, he isn't bad looking himself, but he doesn't look like Ryan Reynolds either. That's true. And I definitely don't pull off Ryan Reynolds. That's true. Um, I'll, I appreciate it. Like I said, at least we're going in the right direction, Not I've had that where it's like you look like who was it? I can't remember. Anyways, like really hot actors and they're just like, but not as good looking. It's like, okay, thanks. That's great. Or what's the guy? Aquaman, the guy who plays Aquaman? It's like, yeah, only, not as tall, not as good looking, and without the muscles. Like, so the hair and beard, great. Jason Momoa, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Uh, Peter on the top half of your head and David on the bottom half. Oh, Peter Skarsgård. Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah, Jason Momoa. You know, um, yeah. What was it? Oh, French fries says Mickey Mouse Once Upon a Christmas. I've never watched that. Um, yeah, I'm not much for like I'm not much for most Christmas related stuff in general. It's never, it's never been a holiday. In general, holidays, to me, the thing I love about holidays is getting together with family, getting together with loved ones, stuff like that. Like that's the stuff I love about holidays. The rest of it, I've never had the like holiday spirit or whatever that might be. So, um, so yeah. But so I never really got into it. And then I did work retail, which really killed Christmas music for me. I mean, I never loved Christmas music to begin with that much, but like, oh my God, working retail during Christmas, that was that didn't help things, I'll put it that way. I might be turning into a Scrooge with Christmas, Reckless Mrs. Yeah, I feel that. I will say this, my girlfriend, Michelle, um, she loves Christmas. She loves the holidays. And while I don't think I'll ever like be the guy who like had, super into the holidays or anything. It's definitely one of those things where it's like to, it's made me have to look for like the positives and stuff, and there's definitely positives. I do enjoy driving around with her looking at the lights and everything. People really go all out and, put lights up on their houses and really do all this stuff. That's fun to do. I would never do it. I don't understand why people do it, but I enjoy it. So I'm gonna appreciate it, even if I won't do it. Let's see. French Fry says, "Have you seen Christmas Vacation? It's kind of an anti-Christmas movie. It's not just one of the best Christmas movies, it's one of the best movies made in general." I have not. At least I don't think I have. Oh, I have. I have. I forgot. I didn't, I'm bad with names. I have. I don't remember it very well. It's been forever since I've seen it, but I have. Yeah. Uh, Recklessness says my Christmas have been lacking as of late. Not sure if I what I need to change. Um, and also says I have seen it, but I cannot see how it's an anti-Christmas movie. Um, yeah, I think it's like anti um the stuff that isn't important and tries to show how ridiculous it is, maybe. Home Alone. I remember Home Alone. That's a Christmas movie, right? That counts. Home Alone was fun. I haven't seen it since, I was a kid, but I'll go for Home Alone. French Fry says I watched Home Alone today. Nice. Was it good? Like I said, I haven't seen it in years, so I'm wondering if, I remember it fondly, but it's actually crap. Um, that has happened to me in the past. Oh my God, I went back and watched some of the cartoons I liked as a kid, and some of them held up, but some of them, whoa, watching them again really was painful. I'm trying to say, yeah, it was the same. It was the same as last year. Oh, that's funny. Okay, yeah. Um, Recklessness says, if anything, it represents the Christmas season. We get caught up in the stress of the holidays, but at the end, it reminds you the reason some people celebrate Christmas. I could see that, Recklessness. Yeah, I could see that. I think, yeah, that sounds about right. It's been a while. It's been quite a while since I've seen it, so my memory isn't super strong on it, but that sounds about right. Yeah, we have a tradition that we're probably going to break this year, which is we for like the last I don't remember how many years now, our Christmas tradition was on Christmas Day we would go out to a movie um, at at a theater where you could order food. So we wouldn't do Christmas dinner. We would do, a movie and a meal kind of thing. But this year, the movies that are out um, don't don't look like we're like I don't think we're interested in any of them. So I don't think we're going to do that. So we might end up doing a movie at home instead, type of thing. But yeah, that unfortunately, I don't think there's anything good out on Christmas this year. Um, so our tradition's gonna be a little broken, but not too bad. French says, I thought it was about how Christmas will never live up to the expectations you place on it and learning what's actually important. That's also a way of looking at it. I could see that. Recklessness says that's another way of looking at it. But I still wouldn't say it's anti-Christmas. No, I don't think it's anti-Christmas in that like even a Violent Night or um, you know, or Bad Santa isn't anti-Christmas Christmas movie, even though it's an anti-Christmas movie, right? Like they are, but they aren't. So yeah. I hear one of my cats out there. Like I can hear the bell, but they're not coming in here, which is unusual. Like usually if I can hear the bell for this long, they're on their way here. Just wondering what's going on. What are those cats up to? Oh, um, one of the cats is going to make an appearance in the videos, by the way. I'm really excited about that. It's so funny because I should be more excited about the paintings and everything, but uh I'm more excited about like people seeing uh you know people's reaction to like the edit and people seeing the little, I don't want to call it an Easter egg because it's not an Easter egg, but yeah. Anyways, you'll see next week. Next week videos start coming out, so you'll see then. But yeah, for people who are new to this stream, I have 3 cats and a dog, although the dog doesn't really show up on stream usually, because he doesn't like coming into my room that much. But the cats show up occasionally, as little guest stars. Nisu. Here we go. Here's one of them right now. We'll see if I can pick her up. She's all hyper. Nope, she's running away from me. Little girl, come here. I cannot grab her. She has the zoomies. So she runs away from me. Oh well. That's for anyone who's curious. That's why I wear the gloves. I mean, overall I think it's better to wear gloves than not wear gloves if you're painting. However, I really don't like wearing gloves, but um, because of the cats, I want to be able to have clean hands at a moment's notice if I need it. So that's why the gloves. Um, yeah. Overall, though, the depending on the pigments you're using, it's not that like some pigments are more toxic than others, so it depends what you're using. But there are definitely pigments out there that aren't that bad. I don't know what is going on with her, but she is super hyper. He's zooming all over the place. Painting people when their heads are tilted like this is definitely challenging. the tendency that every, not everybody, but most people have when they do paint people with their heads tilted this much is the tendency is to either the, usually the tendency is to straighten it out unintentionally, like you paint and then over time you realize that you've been correcting the head to be straighter, or it goes the opposite way and starts like tilting way too much. But most people do the first. There's also an interesting thing. I need to look it up to find out the exact thing, but depending on what hand you draw with, there's a like a tendency to drop one of the eyes when you're doing a portrait of someone. Um, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's the eye that's across or diagonal to your drawing hand, whatever that might be. But I'm not 100% sure about that. So I wouldn't, but I know that it's one of it is an actual thing. Like there is definitely a tendency of people to do that. Like a huge high percentage of people, almost everybody basically does that. If I'm not mistaken, there was even a study about it, but like I said, I have to look it up to find it. I'm trying to think. There's a there's it's either an animated movie or an animated TV show. Um, but for the life of me, I cannot. It's more like a vague recollection than a good memory. Um, but I have this like vague recollection that there's an animated show or movie that's Christmas themed, but that's like very but it's like an action movie or something, but I can't remember what it is. I'm trying to think if it's the Venture Brothers. Did they do a Christmas episode where like there's Santa, um but it's like an action thing or something? I don't know. I like I said, I can't remember what it is. Everything's kind of jumbled for whatever reason. Um but yeah, I'm trying to think what it is, but I cannot remember. Um, I think I don't think this is Christmas. I think this is Thanksgiving, but I think Charlie Brown used to have a thing like like a what is it? Charlie Brown the Great Race or some I don't know. I remember it being on as reruns when I was a very small kid kind of thing. Like it was just the thing that came on. Um, but I never like really watched it, so yeah, I don't remember much about it. I really need to break out one of my bigger, softer brushes. I have big brushes but they're all very stiff. I need something softer for a lot of this, but I definitely need something bigger. Just being lazy. So a lot of times if you see me putting down marks and like I put out the mark down and then I just like hold my brush kind of there and I stop and then I keep going. A lot of times what I'm doing is I am trying to like mentally like drop the plumb lines. I don't remember why they're called plumb lines, but there's a good reason for it. I looked it up once. But yeah, I'm trying to like find um, landmarks to drop plumb lines from so that I can make sure that, where I'm at is accurate. It's good to do before you start putting the paint down, but sometimes you need to do it mid stroke. these folds are exaggerated, but that's okay. As I go in and paint and get the values right, I'll adjust them as I go. There's a way of painting where um, you like you draw everything, with a pencil or with you know, charcoal or whatever, and then from there you paint over it, and you do everything as a dead layer or a grisaille, um, and then varnish on top, or not varnish, oh my God, you do washes on top and so on to get the right colors and everything. And that is a way of splitting up the the whole process overall, right? Because like on in each step, you're only focused on a certain element of the painting process, right? You're only focused on the drawing, and then you're only focused on the values, and then you're only focused on the colors and the, saturation. And in a way, I do that in my painting as well, even though I don't break it up. Uh, at least I do it at least mentally. Like at times I'm only focused on getting the drawing right, and I'll worry about, getting the colors and everything and the value. I'll worry about it later. So it's like breaking it up in a way, just I don't do it in stages that way. I've tried that before. I'm not a fan of painting like that. I don't like painting like that. There's nothing wrong with it if that is something you do like. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's my way or is the only way. I just personally don't enjoy it. I actually tried doing a painting, not quite like that, where it was a grisaille layer and everything, but it was a painting where it was broken up into pieces like that. It was for a class I took with Nicholas. It was for the class I took with Nicholas Uribe, and I found it very difficult to break up the painting process truly into sections like that. I found it very, very difficult because I don't I think it's because I don't get anything right away. Like I just, I just don't get the drawing right away. I know that I'm going to have to adjust the drawing many times. I don't get the colors right away. I basically I just don't get any of it right away. And so, and not that those techniques require you to get it right away, but it does require you to finish it. And so that's where I was struggling, where it's just like I know I could do it over time. I could get into the habit of like, okay, really get the drawing super tight and how you want it, and then move on to the next part of you know, of the painting. But yeah, it, it was very frustrating not being not being used to that. It was not very intuitive to me at all. One thing that's very, I've said this before, one thing that's very common is artists and photo retouchers tend to make the whites of the eye way too light. It's often a mistake that they do. Teeth too. There's a tendency to make the white of the eyes and teeth too light and too white. One thing I keep remembering whenever I watch Die Hard, and I always forget to do it, is the supposed cure or for like when you're traveling, when you're flying. The whole reason that he's barefoot in the movie um, is because someone tells him that the secret is to wherever you're going when you get there is to walk barefoot and make fists with your feet in the carpet. And every time I fly, I forget to try that. Every time I watch the movie, I'm like, I gotta try that out next time I fly. Has anyone tried that? I'm curious if anyone can confirm or deny it being a useful thing to do. All right. Well, obviously he's not finished, but it's starting to come together. Um, I will be back streaming on uh Sunday if everything goes as planned. Should be, but yeah, I will stream. I stream Sunday day and Thursday uh evening or night, or yeah, I guess night, Thursday night. So Thursday night and Sunday day. That's the schedule at the moment. Um, but yeah, next week, look for videos. Like I said, videos are coming out, and I would do a longer stream, but I got to go. I have to go work on a bunch of other stuff other than the Christmas painting. So thank you everybody for, thank you everybody for stopping by and hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Um, I'll be back Sunday. Join the Discord. It's the best way to keep what's it called? Not just keep in touch, keep track. I announce when things change there. But yeah, and have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all Sunday. Well, whoever shows up, I can't. But yeah, anyways, have a great one, everybody.